On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks have solved their ball handler issue, but is it enough? We'll talk about Dante Exum and more big questions about the Dallas Mavericks on today's Locked On Mavs.
Stop it! Let's go! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great,
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't believe
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being every year, making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me. X, going give it to you. Yokel, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
You know what I love right now is Cooper Flagg already getting in some community work in the DFW area, going to a basketball camp, getting some shots up, some blocks on some little kids. I just think it's cool, man. Number one overall pick. He's already getting out there and going to some camps, getting some content in for all of us to soak in. So shout out to Cooper. But I'm honestly, more than Cooper, I'm just worried right now. All I think about is the recovery of Slightly Biased.
From the Great Slightly Biased YouTube channel, what you got for me, Slightly Biased?
I'm chugging along, and 3 more weeks in a cast. We'll be on our way.
He's coming along. He's coming along.
Do you have any more signatures?
Yeah, I put some on.
Okay.
You got to donate on my stream to be in the raffle.
Wow. To sign it?
Yeah, I'm not playing around. I'm sitting at home. I'm supposed to be in Europe right now, so I'm getting something out of it.
Coming home with something. I'm staying home with something.
Honestly, that's kind of cool. Like, hey, you like donate on the stream and you get your name on the cast.
Yeah, and a message.
Wow. How about that? It's a masterclass right there. Today's episode, we're going to get into Dante Exum signing with the Mavericks. Mavericks have now solved, I guess, their ball handler issue, but is it enough? We're going to answer that question. We'll talk about Cooper Flagg's role early. We'll also talk about the coaching staff, some turnover, some really good additions being rumored for the Mavericks right now. But let's start here. The Mavs signed Dante Exum, bringing him back on a 1-year deal. And yes, that means the Dallas Mavericks have 16 players on the roster right now. They have to do something at some point. But like Mark Stein pointed out and reminded all of us, during the offseason, teams can have 21 players on their roster. And so until they need to make a decision on that, they can keep all these guys. But someone eventually will have to be gone. We think it's going to be an Omax Prosper salary dump. We think it could be a Jaden Hardy salary dump or something like that. We don't think it's going to be a big trade. I guess it could be, too. It could be a 2-for-1 trade or something like that. But Dante Exum coming back. The Mavs ball handler problem solved, Isaac.
Well, I mean, I think what you're going for whenever you lose a guy like Kyrie for the first half of the season, and you're not going to commit to trading a draft pick or a Daniel Gafford or somebody for like a Kobe White or whatever. I think the best route at that point is to go to bullpen approach and try to get some guys in there that can do, that have different strengths, that can do different things. And that's why I love the Dante Exum signing, because it's like, he's a safe option. You can throw him out there. You can run the offense. You can keep the ball moving. He's bigger. He can play some defense. And then you have D'Lo that can, he's crafty. He can get buckets if you need a night to where, hey, Cooper's in his rookie season and, AD's maybe out, taking a rest day or something like that. And you're like, dang, in order for us to win this game, we need D'Lo to put up like 30 in this game. He has the capabilities to do that. And then you have like a little spark plug in Brandon Williams that finished the season really strong. So I just like the combination of those three. And for when you add up those 3 guys' salaries and for how cheap it is, I think it's a pretty good job from Dallas's front office to put these 3 guys together.
Yeah, I mean, Exum was like the type of player they needed to sort of round it out. Like once you got D'Lo, I thought any of your other guard options that were just like your Cole Anthonys of the world were pretty much off the table. Yeah. You had to get someone who could defend at a decent enough level. And Exum gets you that while also giving you somebody who can get you into your offense and is familiar with some of these guys already. And, it feels good because the reports where Exum had 2 teams, that 2 contending teams were after him as well. There was a lot of reports that,
the Lakers.
Were the Lakers one of them?
I saw a report about the Lakers and Exum.
Okay.
Get off.
And then
they did.
Get out of here. And, European teams are all over him, too. So it's good to have Exum back.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
What if they don't make a roster space? Or they just gonna be like, hey, I'm sorry, man. We just couldn't get one.
Or what's the NBA really going to do? What if the Mavs do walk in with 16 players? Like, what would they do? Like, who enforces the CBA at that level? You know what I mean? Like, what if they break rules?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you guys didn't get the memo. We made a move today. It must not have went through.
It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We count 15.
At what point would it get physical if a team just like doesn't follow one of the CBA rules and like brings 16 players in? Like, does someone go in there and physically remove them, or like how long could it last?
You just can't play a game. No, I mean, it's probably going to be
Who's going to stop them
from playing the game.
Yeah,
I mean, they just won't tip off.
Just saying, it's all breaking down for me. It's like the NBA is just a house of cards.
I think in order for you to dump Jaden Hardy, I think everybody knows what he is now. So, and he has years left on his deal at like $6 million. So It doesn't sound like a ton, but you probably have to attach something small to dump him. I don't know. I still feel like Omax is young enough and cheap enough to where if you did, look out at some other teams, they could, say like, oh, all right, we'll take Omax at $3 million or whatever, but they're going to have to do that, not just for the roster sake, but to get back under the second apron and stuff too. So expect it at some point. It'll happen, and I'll get over it.
Yeah, but it has to be a trade because they can't just cut someone. It has to be getting off the salary. So
well, they could waive and stretch somebody enough if it was a big enough contract, right? I mean, we just
could do Dwight's.
We just saw a $54 million deal get waived and stretched to Damian Lillard.
I wonder if that's the future of the league right there.
Just they don't do an amnesty clause. They just everybody waives and stretches guys they don't want anymore, and there's just dead money all over the league.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we have a future of the league. OKC better watch out with the Ayton and Luka pairing.
It's the number one pick from.
No, we gotta save Lakers talk. We'll get to Lakers.
They should mimic the real economy and make it to where you could trade for other teams' debts, like dead money.
Get bet on it. You can bet against it. I'm gonna put a lien.
I'll take your $22 million.
Can I put a lien on the 2026 Pelicans pick that's going to the Hawks? Can I do that? I think with D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, Brandon Williams, like you said, add Cooper Flagg in there, who Jason Kidd said is going to be a ball handler. Naji Marshall is going to handle the ball some. I think they at least have enough to handle the ball. I don't feel good about that being the ball handlers going into a playoff series. Even if you add Kyrie to that group, I don't think that's enough. But I think during a regular season, I think they did enough.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how good Flagg is, though. Because if Flagg comes in as a top 50 player out the gate, I think that changes this dynamic quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, the D'Lo thing, the people have been like, yeah, in the playoffs, I'm like, if D'Lo is starting for you in the playoffs, something's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, no. No.
That's not the plan.
But D'Lo as a six man, and that can be a spark plug guy, that can win you a playoff game like a Tim Hardaway did back in Pat, and play like a Tim Hardaway role, like, sure, sign me up in that like bench type role that Tim played.
Yeah, I'm all in on D'Lo, $4.5 million or whatever it is.
Especially at the money, and they got ice in your veins now.
Ice in my veins.
Especially since what the role they'll be asking him to do, at least for the beginning of the season, is only going to last the beginning of the season. And if if Kyrie doesn't come back right, you know what I mean, then the season wasn't going to end well for you anyway. That's what you're making. That's what you're making the bet on. Does this push Brandon Williams, this Exum move? Does this push Brandon Williams farther down? Like I was thinking he was going to start a couple weeks ago, and now I'm like, I think he's the third string point guard at this point.
I mean, I don't know what I don't know. I didn't really have much expectations for him entering the season, but we'll see. I mean, we did this whole song and dance last year with the guards, and they all ended up playing huge minutes. It was just kind of varied. Like Kid will ride the hot hand. Kid will have guys at the end of the bench that don't play for 2 weeks, and then they're getting 30 minutes a game for the next 3 weeks.
No, I think he's the third. I think D'Lo starts and Exum is your main guy off the bench. But I think it just kind of depends on the game and stuff too. That the D'Lo. I mean, Exum. I think D'Lo's locked into kind of his spot early on. It's the Exum Brandon Williams type coming off the bench. I think it can be matchup dependent.
The The Mavs have solved their ball handler to a degree, their ball handler issue to a degree. And I think that they've got a good rotation there until Kyrie comes back. And it'll just depend on what Kyrie comes back to see what it all looks like and how they all put it together. Coming up, let's talk about the coaching staff. The Mavs were hemorrhaging coaches. Now they're bringing in and are rumored to get some really good assistant coaches. Are they fixing that? Let's talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? There's just too many things. There's too much all around happening all the time. Too many transactions, too many different places that your money is or investments are or student loans or savings accounts or credit cards or all that kind of stuff. Monarch Money can help you. It makes it easier, puts you in the driver's seat, puts you in control. It's like having your own personal CFO. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track accounts, investments, spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth at the same time. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA. That's all one word, LOCKEDONNBA. Get half off your first year, 50% off the entire year at monarchmoney.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. Go to our text line, 214-643-8637, and you get every single rumor sent straight to your phone. Gotta love it. You can also ask Isaac and I questions. We'll answer them and do all that. You cannot get a signature on Slightly's cast via the text line.
Ooh.
There's all kinds of other good things.
Via the bank account.
That's the only way you can do it. We're asking big questions about the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about Dante Exum. Let's talk about the coaching staff because Mavs have already lost Sean Sweeney, the lead assistant, to now become the assistant to the
lead assistant in San Antonio.
He was the elite assistant. Now he's the assistant to the coach in San Antonio. The Mavs are rumored to be losing Jared Dudley to the Denver Nuggets. They have already lost God Shamgod to the Orlando Magic and our old friend Jamal Mosley. But the Mavs have just now recently, according to Mark Stein, been connected to Phil Handy, who's the coach of the Lakers, and some others, and assistant coach with Jason Kidd for that 2020 title that they won. Also, Mike Penberthy, who was on that same staff as an assistant, they're connected there. And then the Mavs have brought in officially Frank Vogel, who was a consultant for the Mavericks for the last couple of years and was just kind of hanging around. He was just like at things. He didn't have an official role, but now he's coming in as an assistant coach. Are you more worried or less worried seeing all that now come to fruition for the Mavericks coaching staff?
Well, I've shared my opinion on this before. The assistant coach stuff, I don't know. I don't like to even really get into this because I don't know. Like, if you were to tell me this is unprecedented, like Isaac, I saw your tweet where it was just like this type of movement for your assistant coaches is kind of,
I meant overall in the organization.
Right. Okay. But I've seen other people say, how the assistant coach carousel has kind of been unprecedented. I don't know that. I'm not a historian on assistant coaching moves. So if you were to tell me that, okay, I believe you. I'm looking at this situation and I see a lot of people doom and glooming over it. And I'm just like, to me, this just means you put together a hell of a coaching staff is what this shows me. Because you've had teams across the league and every single one of these guys, it hasn't been just one team in the reports. It's been multiple teams going after him to try and poach him away. I don't know. Is it, do I think there's probably some rot in the center of this core here for the Mavs? Yeah. Do I think this is like a symptom of it? No, not really. I just think some of these guys got upgrades. And you look at the guys they're bringing in, Vogel, there's a lot of talk about
Phil Handy
coming in, which is like, that's a very well-respected development coach across the league. And I'm very excited about that with Cooper Flagg being here. You're talking about a guy who's there with LeBron, Kawhi, that's very well respected across the league. So
he's close with Kyrie.
He's close with Kyrie, close with LeBron. I'm just saying, there's some signals that are really starting to
get away.
I'm really starting to perk up here a little tiny bit.
Get away.
It's just getting a little.
My favorite thing is anybody suggesting LeBron to the Mavs in front of Isaac.
I've never done the trade thing, but then people are like, "What if he just gets a buyout?" And I'm like, well, buyouts are just happening every other day in the league now.
There's 28 other teams that are ready for him.
I think it'd be Mavericks for sure.
No.
Buyout. You don't think so?
Go to Golden State.
He's just speaking it into existence that it won't be. He's not thinking through it logically. He just doesn't like LeBron so much.
No, I can think through it logically. We can have the conversation. I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good decision. I don't think any of it's good.
Why would it be a bad if he got bought out?
For free? No, I don't want the media circus of LeBron and Cooper Flagg's rookie season.
No,
what is it
for him?
Okay, tell me. Okay, let's just do it now. What is he bringing to you basketball basketball wise right now that would be worth it with the supporting cast? And don't drop it's LeBron. He's still 40, all right, or 41. Like you can't drop it like he's like prime LeBron. So what? How does it fix things right now?
Well, let's start with 41 years old. Goated number in this franchise. So
just numerology wise, it just really.
But I mean, he's still a top 15 player in the league. I mean,
well, he would come in and be the best pick and roll ball handler on the team.
So he's gonna run your point guard.
Sure, sometimes.
Offensively, yeah, that would be a big.
Okay, so no D'Lo.
We just went through a whole segment. We just went through a whole segment where we're like D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, Brandon Williams are going to handle the ball, and then we were like, okay, well maybe it could be LeBron James. Like that's an upgrade.
That's great. Who's he going to guard? He doesn't play defense.
Who is D'Angelo Russell going to guard right now?
Yeah, I will say Broadway was pretty good on defense last year for sure.
For the last 2 weeks of the season.
That's all they need him for.
Stop. Come on.
Just 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks, Broad.
We keep gassing up Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis and Lively as like this incredible and PJ Washington.
You honestly want to do that to Cooper's rookie season?
Is it going to make them better?
You would sign it up for it. I don't know if if
it's free.
You think that would be a negative for Flagg?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You don't think there's any positive?
Look what we just did. Like everything is about Cooper Flagg right now in this whole thing. And now like LeBron shatters all of that. Like it's not about rookie. Like it's not about Cooper Flagg at all then.
Does Cooper Flagg come off as a guy that like would be really upset if the media stopped paying a lot of attention to him right now?
You know, it's like a Cooper Flagg just being like, "Oh my God, I'm playing with LeBron. Like this is so cool."
He gets to learn how to be a vet from LeBron, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Kyrie.
Okay, sure. I just don't think it's a good basketball. I don't think any of it's good. Like, I just think it's easy for people to drop the like, it's LeBron. Of course it would work and fit. And it's like, no, just think through it for like 5 minutes and ask yourself like, what? Honestly, who would start? Like LeBron has to start. You going to tell Cooper he's going to come off the bench?
Start the all 6'9" and above team. The LeBron, Cooper, PJ, Anthony Davis, Dereck Lively.
LeBron is so big to bring him in at this point of his career to ring chase in Cooper's rookie season and all the stuff. I just think that's just messy. It's too much stuff, man. Like
I just think that's not a good enough reason to not take LeBron on like a minimum.
So
I think it's a great reason.
I see what you're saying, and I do get where you're coming from. I would do it, and I'll tell you right now, if the 1% chance he were to get bought out or something, and if he made it messy, I guarantee you, the first report we'll hear, Nico Harrison's on his way to LA for a sit-down meeting or something. It'll be one of the first things we hear.
I just don't think he's good enough at this point in his career to warrant all of the circus. I just don't. Sorry.
That's fair.
So Phil Handy coming in.
Well, we got to LeBron because of Phil Handy.
Yeah, right. I just think that it was not a position of strength, and it did not look good on the franchise for you to lose assistant coaches to like lateral or just semi upgrades in other spots to San Antonio, to Denver, to Orlando. It's like, okay. And then to hear, the stories that didn't seem like the Mavs really fought hard to keep Sean Sweeney. All right, well, that's not really a good look either, that you're taking care of your own guys, that it's been there and has run offense, defense for you in different times. It's getting all these interviews all over the place, and you want to develop into a head coach one day. But now to bring in basically the Lakers 2020 staff, Frank Vogel, Phil Handy, Penn Berthe. They also have Jay Triano. He was not on that Lakers staff, but they brought in Jay Triano. Well, yeah, obviously, and Jason Kidd was on that staff too. But I think that this could honestly, in the aggregate, be an upgrade. It's almost slightly a little bit where I'm like, I don't know. Like, who knows how much of an upgrade it could be, or if it's a downgrade, but it does seem like it could be because those guys are well regarded.
I think it could be. Yeah. I'm more concerned about the overall, when you have this much turnover and change, there's just like, you just can't ignore that from top to bottom. Like, ownership. I mean, we've went through it so many times, ownership and GM and so many people behind the scenes and so many, I mean, and yes, I'll admit some of it is the fact that there's like some personal relationships attached that, that doesn't have like, some great feelings on a lot of the stuff, but it's just like, yeah. I think they are very well respected around the league, like Dudley, Shamgod, and all this stuff. But like, you can't convince me like all of this is like a coincidence, and you can't convince me right now that it's all good too, that they're going to be replaced, or like, hey, all these new guys are going to be better. I love Frank Vogel. I think he's going to be great. Phil Handy, relationships. That was the whole reason Nico Harrison was hired, not for his background or experience. He had none. It was because of relationships around the league, and that's where it's like, there's a lot of relationships you are losing with Dudley and Shamgod that like those two guys meant a lot in that locker room and had a lot of relationships around the league, especially a Jared Dudley type. He's going to be an NBA head coach someday. And Shamgod, I mean, every player loves him, has all the relationships and stuff too. So it's not, for me, it's not as much about like the X's and O's, because to slightly explain, it's like it's hard to like really understand like who's better at X's and O's and like schemes and all this stuff. It's, for me, it's about the relationship part. And when you lose so many people and turnover happens so much, really in any like sports organization, a company, like you go across the board, it's typically not a good thing when you have so much turnover and people are leaving and so much change in a short amount of time. But I mean, time will tell if it all like works out that way.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I think too. I wonder if they've wanted Vogel for well over a year, and I wonder if they finally kind of thought, all right, we can get Vogel, and maybe this is an opportunity with some of these guys getting requests elsewhere. If I'm Kidd, this is just like let me flesh out my staff, and if it just means a completely new staff, then so be it. Maybe this is the perfect time to do it because Sweeney's probably going to go. Dudley might get an upgrade. Like maybe this is the time to achieve that. But I agree with what you're saying though. There's just a lot of turnover, and yeah, if I'm like interviewing for a job and I find out that this whole department has changed a million times in the last couple of years, I'm probably going to look a little sideways at it.
It's like what's the stability? Even to like a Cooper Flagg right now, him coming in, it's like who's been here past 5 years?
Yeah, like did he meet Shamgod and Dudley already and like start that up and now all of a sudden it's switching over, right? Like that's not really
the Dudley one I kind of understand because he is moving up to the lead assistant role in Denver if he takes that. Sweeney, even job. Shamgod, to my knowledge, an even type of job. So the Dudley one was hard, when they're hiring Triano, obviously bringing Vogel and stuff, they're kind of punting on the movement up for a Jared Dudley, and he's looking to Denver, who's going to do that with a rookie head coach. So hats off to him. He will be a loss relationally.
Coming up, let's get into what Cooper Flagg's role is going to be early with the Mavericks. Has it changed at all now that we've done free agency? We've seen some of these other teams. Talk about that and more coming up. It's Locked On Mavs. We go daily, every single day. Hard in the paint over here. Emergency pod. No, we just pod every day. That's what we do over here. Slightly going live on his stream every day, doing great stuff on Slightly Biased.
Been live for like 6 hours today. I'm doing nothing. I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Did you play Wordle today?
No, I didn't get to Wordle.
every time you pop a pain pill, you just go live.
No, I've been weaning off of them, but it's been hurting these past couple of days. I went in last week and shoot by orthopedic PA. She was like, "Do you want to refill your pain pills?" I was like, "No, I don't want them anymore." She's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay." 2 days later, I'm on the phone. "Hey, so is it cool if you refill those? I go pick them up." Having a hard time sleeping.
The Mavs roster is pretty set now. They have to make one more move. That's probably going to be a dump. I don't think we expect another trade coming. I think it would have already happened at this point. Has Cooper Flagg's role changed at all from the time that the Mavs won the lottery to now? Have you guys changed your opinion on what Cooper Flagg's role is going to be on this team?
No, I mean, I thought since he came in, he's going to be just a basketball player. I mean, it's a cop-out thing to say, but that is the most exciting thing about him to me is just this guy really when you watch him. And it's just, I want people to, you can find full games on YouTube and stuff. People are not exaggerating. He does every single thing on the basketball floor. And credit to Duke. I mean, like, I know there's people who don't like Duke's. I don't watch college basketball enough to get in the weeds on
One of those is sitting next to you.
Yeah. There's people who question Duke's coaching
Duke.
and stuff, but like, you know, credit to them. They use Cooper Flagg in so many different ways this year, and he excelled in pretty much all of them. So I'm excited to see him in any role, really. And I think, you know, I don't think D'Lo coming in necessarily changes what his outlook was one way or the other.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And, you know, I said the other day that Jason Kidd's point guard comments about Cooper Flagg, I think it's more directed towards summer league than the regular season. I don't think we're going to get like a 50-50 split of point guard duties between D'Lo and Cooper Flagg. Could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case. But speaking of summer league, a little breaking news here. The Lakers have announced their summer league roster. We have the great Darius Bazley. That's going to be going up against Cooper, game
Lucas
1,
Hopper. You guys
Vegas.
remember
Is that your boy, RJ Davis, on there?
RJ Davis, baby, in a Lakers jersey. That sucks. He is like the all-time Tar Heel now because he played there like 10 years. Obviously Dalton Connect's playing. Some of these other guys, their font they use on this graphic, somebody should be. But of course Bronny's on there, number 9.
Bronny, I was like, you're missing a name. Bronny is gonna play, and that Bronny versus Cooper Flagg game. Isaac will probably be there in person.
Bronny, I'm so excited to watch Bronny.
I hope LeBron walks into the room. That'd be just the best. I would just laugh.
He probably will,
also,
right?
Their starting center, Trey Jameson, is also playing on this team right now. I guess Ayton is now their starting center, but for a minute there, it was Trey Jameson.
Don't disrespect DeAndre Ayton like that.
Oh, he's dominating in the paint for sure. The one thing that changed for me was that Jason Kidd comment about how he wants to use him like he used Giannis, and he really he emphasized that a lot. He had the quote about him wanting Cooper Flagg to be a 2 guard. Then he talked about him wanting to be a point guard. Like, I think he's going to put the ball in his hands a little bit more than I had expected. The Mavs also didn't go out and get one of those higher level guards, right? I guess they bring in D'Angelo Russell. It's probably the best one that they could have gotten. I think maybe the best one that moved. Maybe you consider Schroeder, but like the Mavs also didn't really invest in that spot. And so I think that Cooper Flagg's going to handle the ball a little bit more than I expected on lottery night.
Yeah, I think, you know, just with Kidd's track record, like that was leading up to his stint with Dallas, where Kidd just really wasn't that successful as a head coach. That was like the one thing people at least credit him for was Giannis and his development. I mean, you know, when Kidd says point guard, I don't know if I agree with you that I think he was talking about summer league in that specific moment, but I don't know if he's in his brain thinking like, oh, he'll start at the 1, like he'll. No. It's more so like we'll give him a bunch of opportunities just in the flow of the game. Bring the ball up the floor, like initiate. We'll get a ball screen from Lively or something. Like you'll see a lot of those, and it's going to be exciting, man.
Yeah, I mean he's not going to be a guy that just comes off screens or a pin down or an oop or something like that. Like he's going to come up and get the ball from a Ryan Nembhard in summer league, or he's going to come up and get the Actually, I'll say I do think we see him like run the point, like legit run the point in summer league. Yeah, but I could like in the regular season they're going to have sets and stuff where he comes off a screen and comes up and just gets the ball. And then they run a pick and roll with Lively or AD or whoever it is, because he is a great playmaker. And that's one of the things, especially the second half of the season at Duke last year, they started putting the ball in his hands a lot more. And man, they're running that pick and roll, and he's making a decision. He's not the same level as Luka in the pick and roll. I mean, Luka's like a 1-of-1 maestro in that, but it's like he makes the right reads, and he's so physical. I do think, something we're going to see early, and this is for a lot of rookies, but especially him, he used his size so much to create space and to get in the paint when he drove at Duke. I think you're going to see a lot of charges drawn on him because he's going to like kind of lower that shoulder, and people are just going to flop and flail and stuff, the Lou Dorts of the world. But I think you're going to see that early on, that he'll have to kind of adjust to the, hey, I can't just overpower everyone as a pick and roll guy at 6'9" or 6'10", that he's used to doing that in college. We'll see a little bit of that early on.
Yeah, his handle is by far his biggest improvement area.
Yeah. And it's not like he's not Dorian rookie season. Like
Right.
But
He's a very well
sorry, Dorian.
So when we're saying like, hey, Dorian, $100 million in his career, man. What an incredible story. But
Love it,
same. Wish him nothing but the best always. But
Always.
yeah, I mean, when we say there's like an area to improve for Cooper Flagg at this point, he's as well rounded as you could pretty much get.
No.
His
At
areas of
18.
weakness aren't like he's bad. It's just that he just needs to clean them up.
Wild. So that's what we think of Cooper Flagg early in his career. As we think about Exum, coaching staff, all that kind of stuff. We'll be back tomorrow talking about where the Mavs are in the NBA, what we think of all the moves that happen across the NBA. Let's get into all that and more tomorrow. Come back here. Go to Slightly Biased, great YouTube channel. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
3 weeks.